On this coming Monday, it will be the 7th of December, 2020. But on the 7th of December, 1941, a major milestone of historical significance happened to the United States of America. On that day, the Japanese attacked our naval and armed forces installations on the island of Hawaii in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Hi, I'm Dr. Rick Wright, Captain, United States Navy, historian for the National Naval Officers Association. And on this special presentation on this podcast, I would like to present the story of Petty Officer Dorie Miller, United States Navy. In 1983, I was editor of the National Naval Officers Association's daily newsletter that was published monthly. And in the March of 1983 edition, as editor of this newsletter, I always wanted to include historical stories of great African American sailors, males and females, who appeared in the United States Navy, the United States Marine Corps, and the United States Coast Guard. With this particular edition, I wanted to indicate and tell the story to the fleet of Petty Officer Dorie Miller. The article that I wrote, which appeared on page 2 of the newsletter, was entitled "A Gallant Naval Hero, Dorie Miller, United States Navy, the first American hero of World War II." In this article I wrote, the Knox-class fast frigate, USS Dorie Miller, FF 10901, was commissioned on June 30th, 1973. And with this Navy ship's addition to the fleet, a famous hero's name was set to sail the 7 seas. This hero, Mess Attendant 3rd Class Dorie Miller, United States Navy. He had been a crew member on board the USS West Virginia, a powerful naval battleship based at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. While on board this ship, his major duties was to serve as a part of the crew responsible for food services. He had no technological warfare specialty such as gunnery, communications, navigation, engineering, damage control, etc. Because during this time in history, black sailors, African Americans, were prohibited from receiving such training. Sailors like 3rd Class Dorie Miller could only serve out their naval experiences as mess attendants on ships, squadrons, and stations around the world. The month of November 1941 was a rewarding one for Dorie Miller. He had fought in the boxing ring of the USS West Virginia, and his skills had yielded him, yes, the championship of his ship. But on a certain Sunday in December, a few weeks later, his fighting spirit would win him the Navy Cross. Handling an experience the Navy had not trained him for. This experience was war. A major battle, a sneak attack on Pearl Harbor, where ships, planes, and submarines clashed with devastating destruction. Sneak attack by the Japanese naval empire. As the palm trees swayed in the warm breezes of Hawaii on December 7, 1941, Japanese Zeros suddenly came out of the fleecy white clouds and dropped their bombs on the ships anchored at Pearl Harbor. These battleships tied up at the dock side that day with names such as Arizona, Oklahoma, California, West Virginia, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Tennessee, and Utah were not prepared for this attack. Within moments at 7:45 a.m. or 0749 hours on this Sunday morning, the Japanese signaled their famous coded message, Tora, 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 meaning all that was well, and a complete supplies attack had been achieved. The attack had begun, and minutes later, the surprised crew members of those ships were trying to handle the incredible nightmare that was underway. In this environment of war and battle, many human stories came forth. The Dorie Miller story was one of the greatest of that day. As the bombs were falling and machine guns firing away, Dorie Miller immediately realized that a major confrontation was underway. Dorie Miller was the mess attendant to the captain of the USS West Virginia, and on that Sunday he had been collecting laundry that Sunday morning, and once he realized what was happening, he dropped the clothes bag and hustled to the deck bridge of the USS West Virginia. While coming out of the hatch, all he could see was smoke, fire, and just confusion, and bombs blazing away. He quickly reviewed the situation. It also revealed to him immediately that he saw his captain laying on the floor deck of the bridge of the USS West Virginia, and he had been wounded. Dorie Miller ran over to him, pulled him out of harm's way, attended some first aid to stop the bleeding of his captain's body, and pulled him to safety. Dorie Miller then wanted to fight. The closest thing next to him on the bridge of the USS West Virginia was a .50 caliber machine gun. Without any training on the weapon system, he began surveying it, and of course, as an African-American messman, many of the brother messmen in their spare time, they taught themselves how to fire weapons that they were banned from learning about. But Dorie Miller that day, December 7, 1941, began firing away at the various airplanes attacking the fleet, and with precision and accuracy. As the ship was sinking and ablaze with fire, Dorie Miller kept firing away. And before being ordered away from the weapon by an officer because of the ship's condition, with quarterdecks awash, 6 Japanese airplanes had been shot down by Petty Officer Dorie Miller, United States Navy. Messman, 3rd Class Dorie Miller, was now a naval hero. His victory made him the first African-American, not the first African-American, but the first American hero of World War II. And some sense of positive accomplishments on that dreary December day. His action set the course for other African-American sailors to serve the Navy in frontline positions based on ability, rather than having to settle for the traditional roles for blacks and African Americans as stewards in the United States Navy. But Dorie Miller's rating never changed. His faith came on November 25th, 1944, Thanksgiving Day, when along with 700 other crew members, his ship was sunk. The Japanese had torpedoed Dorie Miller's newest ship, the escort carrier, the USS Lipscomb Bay, CVE 56, and he went down with the ship, still a messman. The next day, rumors were going all around Pearl Harbor that a Negro sailor was just shooting down Japanese airplanes. And of course, being an African American, everybody knew was famous, but no real effort was given. But word got back to the United States, and the African American press, i.e. the Pittsburgh Courier, the Norfolk Journal and Guide, and other newspapers, wanted to know who was this sailor. Their research developed and found it was Petty Officer Dorie Miller, messman on board the USS West Virginia. But before this day, and through those efforts, and before this day which ended his life on board the USS Lipscomb Bay, Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz had presented to messman Dorie Miller, quote, "For distinguished devotion to duty, extraordinary courage, and disregard for his own personal safety, the Navy Cross on May 7, 1942. So let the name Messman Third Class Dorie Miller, United States Navy, be forever projected in the annals of naval history, for he was a gallant, incredible naval hero. I'm Captain Rick Wright, historian for the National Naval Officers Association, and this article I wrote on Petty Officer Dorie Miller is to commemorate the work that he did many years ago as we celebrate Pearl Harbor Day, the 7th of December in the year 2020. For now, this edition has been produced by Roosevelt Reuben Wright III. Bravo Zulu to you, shipmates, and God bless the United States of America and the life of Petty Officer Dorie Miller. Oh, by the way, one of our newest naval aircraft carriers will be named the USS Dorie Miller, coming up soon to join the United States Naval Fleet. Have a good day, everybody. And don't forget, Petty Officer Dorie Miller.